Catching a thief is one way to get back a priceless memento, but we have another, and it's just as amazing. This time, it's not about being in the right place at the right time. In fact, it's about being so far away that you would never, ever imagine there's a happy ending in store. During his career as a traveling salesman, Keith Klain made friends all over New England. To his youngest son, Jonathan, Keith was larger than life.
He had a presence, a way where if you met my dad, you never forgot him. He was really the model for me, my hero. We had a really special relationship.
Sadly, in 1996, Jonathan lost his father to lung cancer.
It was terrible. It was heartbreaking for all of us. And my mom, even through her tears, did manage to say that his suffering had ended.
That spring, Jonathan and his family began the difficult process of moving on with their lives.
It was a little while after my dad had passed away that my mom made the decision to sell the house. And we were going through some of Dad's more personal effects. And all of a sudden, I found this ring. And I admired it. I mentioned it to my mom. Do you recognize it?
Yes, it was your dad's. It was his father's, too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And my mom said, you know, Johnny.
Would you like it?
Yeah.
Well, then you keep it. It looks good on you.
Thanks. When I found the ring, even though it wasn't one that I remembered him wearing, just instantly I knew that this was the linkage between me and my dad, and this was a way that I could really maintain that connection for the rest of my life.
Jonathan took the ring to a local jeweler, Mark Larson.
Hi, Jonathan.
How you doing?
Great, how are you?
Good.
When he brought the ring in, we examined it, and we found that the center was a little loose, and that needed to be tightened.
You can size it.
We can definitely size it. And it also was a little big for Jonathan, so he needed to have it resized.
After the resizing, the ring became an integral part of Jonathan's life.
I wore it all the time. It had become so much a part of me that having it off felt very unnatural. And by wearing it, it's a constant physical as well as visual reminder of him and our relationship.
For years, Jonathan wore the ring in loving memory of his father, until one spring day in 2001.
It was pretty much a typical Saturday, trying to get the usual household stuff done. I was gathering up the recycling to take it to our recycling center in town, scrambling to get this all done. I felt good doing my environmentally sound thing. I get back to the house and I've got a bunch of chores around the house to do. And there was this piece of gutter that I had to do a little quick fix to. So I'm working on the gutter, just kind of sweating a little bit. And I looked down and saw the glove fall down to the ground, and at the same time, I looked down at my hand, and it's bare. My dad's ring is gone.
Jonathan climbed back down the ladder, hoping he would find the ring inside his glove.
And of course, it wasn't there. The emotions are really welling up inside of me. I can't believe it. I feel great sorrow and sadness and concern and, oh my God, where could it be? So I started spreading my search out a bit. I just could not find it anywhere. And I went inside, and my wife looked at me and said, "What's wrong?"
What?
I lost my dad's ring.
He couldn't believe that it had happened.
I was outside working on the
He was
gutters,
devastated.
and I dropped the glove, and I noticed it was gone.
We looked all over the house, but no, it wasn't anywhere to be found. When he really realized we might not find it, he was heartbroken because it was a link to his father.
At that point, I felt in my heart that I had lost it. By the same token, I had somehow lost part of my connection with my dad.
2 weeks later, and 1,500 miles away in Orlando, Florida, another man, Michael Duquette, receives a special delivery.
Good morning. Good morning. Ah, must be my golf clubs. I was expecting a package from my dad, and this was it. Thank you. He was sending me a set of golf clubs. And I open the top of the box, and I pull out this bag that's filled with about 4 million little packing peanuts, and they're everywhere. So they're all over the place. And as I'm starting to pick up, I see this shiny gold object on the floor. And I go and pick it up, and I see that it's a ring. I knew the clubs were my uncle's, and he had recently passed away. And I figured, well, maybe this ring belongs to my uncle.
Michael immediately called his mother, Joyce.
Hello?
Hi, Mom.
But as he
Hi, Mike, how
described
you
the ring
doing?
to her, the mystery
Just
only
great.
deepened.
It's a gold ring, and there's a black stone and a gold letter of some sort on the top of that stone.
So I said, it's not a ring that I recognize, Michael. I have no idea how it would have gotten there. And I don't think it was Uncle John's.
A few days later, Joyce flew from Maine to Florida to spend some time with her son. And Michael immediately showed her the ring.
Oh, it's a beautiful ring.
It wasn't anything I recognized, but I knew it was an heirloom. That was a
Even
given.
match. But it shows a lot of wear. It's been made small. So probably.
And it must have really meant
somebody's
something to
father or
someone,
somebody's grandfather.
because it looked like it was either a father's ring or a grandfather's ring.
Is there any way we could find out who owns this ring? How would we even begin to get it back to the owner?
I said, I'll take the ring back to Maine with me and see if I can locate an owner, because I figured that it had to have come from somebody who packed the golf clubs.
3 weeks later, Joyce returned to Maine and the Mail It Quick shop that had shipped the golf clubs.
Hi.
Hi, can I help you?
Yes. I found a piece of jewelry in a box of packing peanuts. And I wonder if anyone here has lost a piece of jewelry.
I don't know, let me check.
I checked with the people there, and no one had lost the ring.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
I thought, what am I going to do now? I thought, when I go downtown again, I will take it to a jewelry store. Maybe they can tell me something about it. Well, there were 3 jewelry stores on Main Street. I wasn't sure which one I would stop at. I thought I would take it to Tardif's. He sells estate jewelry, and I thought maybe he'll know something about it. But there was no parking place in front of his store. And Larson's is across the street, and right on the corner in front of that store was a parking place.
Joyce had no idea that fate was leading her to the one store in the world that might recognize the ring.
The lady said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "I really hope so."
I have a ring here, and I'd like you to look at it and see.
So I took the ring out of my purse and I showed her.
Interesting.
And she looked it over, and she didn't have a whole lot to say about it.
It's an old ring, too.
Joyce was just about to leave when fate took a hand.
My clerk came over and said that this customer had a ring that she wanted me to look at.
I wonder if you can tell me anything about this.
Wow. I certainly can. I recognize this ring. And I recognized it immediately as a customer of mine because I'd worked on the ring before. And I was astonished. So I went over to the phone and dialed up Jonathan.
Jonathan was surprised when he saw Larson's name come up on the caller ID. But the real surprise was yet to come.
I was just wondering if you happen to have lost a piece of jewelry lately?
Oh my God, my dad's ring. And it was like thunderstruck. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is unbelievable, you know, my dad's ring. And he says, yeah, I've got it here in front of me.
That's great.
I'm like,
Yeah,
how
sure.
did you get it?
Well, let me put the lady on that brought it in so she can explain to you. Hold on.
So he introduces me to this really nice lady.
Hi, Jonathan. This is Joyce.
She said, well, you're not going to believe this, but it fell out of a box of golf clubs in Orlando, Florida.
I can't believe it.
Here I am up in Fairfield, Maine, and she's telling me that my ring that I lost somewhere in Maine showed up in a box of golf clubs in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, listen, Jonathan, how do I get it back to you?
Well, I couldn't wait to get that ring back to him. So when he explained to me where he lived, I said, my goodness, you're on the road I travel all the time. It's on my way home.
Jonathan could hardly wait for Joyce to pull into his driveway.
Hi.
Hi, Jonathan.
You must be Joyce.
I am. Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, too. Oh, my God, my dad's ring.
I was just full of joy and happiness.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
There's my dad's ring. I mean, still, I almost can't believe it, but there it is.
What happened? How did you get it?
As Joyce explained how her son had found the ring, the pieces of the mystery began to fall into place.
It took me a second, but I really focused on the packing peanuts.
Jonathan flashed back to the chores he'd done the day he'd lost the ring.
And one of the many things I was doing was gathering up all of these packing peanuts to bring to the Mail It Quick to give to them.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
It must have fallen off of my hand somehow into one of these bags of packing peanuts.
Jonathan and Joyce both marveled at the incredible journey the ring had taken.
Oh, I am too.
Outside of being a miracle, the full circle that that ring took, I just can't describe it any other way.
The only way that I've really come to explain this is that my dad brought it back to me.
Money and
Here we go, yeah. This is so miraculous that this happened.
All right, it's gonna fit good this time?
It's there to stay.
All right.
It's a great story. Of course, for me, that I got the ring back.
It fits you well. Looks great on here.
But what's really wonderful to me is that so many people are so caring and so kind in our community.
Where it came back to us.
My dad was all about people. He really saw the good in people. And Dad's long since passed away, but he still has a hand in it and is still teaching me about the beauty of life and the beauty of people, and that's great.
When you lose something with so much sentimental value, to have it returned has to feel like a miracle. And no one knows that feeling better than Jonathan Klain. He and Joyce Duquette join us now from Waterville, Maine. Hello there.
Hi, Richard.
First of all, Jonathan, have you taken any extra precautions with your ring now that you've got it back?
Yeah, at this point, it never comes off my hand. Mark put a nice ring guard on it, and now it's actually pretty hard to get it to come off. I don't even bother trying.
I bet you're glad of that, Joyce.
I'm very glad of that. That was my last words to him. Don't lose it again. You may not get it back.
Have you ever thought of having your name put on it?
Yeah, at this point, Mark said, whenever I'm ready, bring it in and he'll engrave it with my grandfather's initials and then my dad's initials and my initials, and we'll save a space at the bottom, and it's going to eventually be handed to my younger son, Ian, and we'll have the space there so he can have his initials put on it, too, at that time.
Well, I'm sure that with the incredible story that comes with the ring, your son will also be very protective of this family heirloom. Meanwhile, you keep that ring on your finger.
Will do, Richard. Thanks.
And thanks to both of you for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.